Welcome to the Kingdom Mastermind Podcast, a community for women who love God and want to thrive as joyful lifestyle entrepreneurs. Your adventure starts now. Here's your host, Ann McDonald.
The rest of your life is the best of your life. The best of your life is the rest of your life. And yes, I am going to keep saying that every single week. Why? Because we behave from belief. Can you imagine tomorrow you wake up and you actually believe that it's a better day than it was yesterday and that the best of your actual life is yet to come? I think that would change things for us. Kingdom Masterminders, this is Ann McDonald. I want to welcome you back to the Kingdom Mastermind Podcast, where each week we tackle things that are relevant for kingdom-minded female entrepreneurs. We touch on the vocational ministry aspect. We touch on the traditional business aspect. And this week, well, it's Thanksgiving week when I'm recording this. So we're going to do something a little special. We're going to take a break from our business basics. We're going to talk about a couple of things that are relevant to that. But we're going to take a quick break to thank our sponsors, and then we'll be right back with this week's episode. Do you have an idea for an online information product business, but you haven't been able to finish it? Patrick and I are hosting a live, twice-a-week, 12-week coaching immersive with lifetime access to coach you through the process of building out that online business now. Finish 2020 strong. While the rest of the world struggles with noise, you know that God is still on the throne, and it's time to build in such a way that the kingdoms of God become the kingdoms of this earth. There is no time like now to get started. Visit www.infotoincomechallenge.com for more information. Kingdom Entrepreneur, don't let another year go by without finishing those God ideas. A year from now, imagine how different life could be. Visit www.infotoincomechallenge.com now. So one of the first things I want to do is invite you. We have a free group. It's called the Kingdom Mastermind Challenge Group. And every month we are hosting free challenges in our free Facebook group for kingdom-minded women. Yep. That's right. So one of the things I wanted to do this week was unpack a couple of things that we actually have going on for kingdom-minded women, entrepreneurial-minded, vocational ministry-minded. You know, sometimes it can be tough out there. We don't always have places where we can gather and be heard and known and seen and, well, at the same time, be challenged to move forward a little bit. So today, I wanted to spend a few minutes just unpacking what we have available. I know that you have something that the world needs. I know that because that's how God designed it. We get one opportunity to inhabit the spaces and places that God has created for maybe, well, let's say 120 years. Some of us 80 years, some of us 60 years, some of us 120 years. Some of us, if we're like Moses, it's going to be multiple hundreds of years. I say that kind of in jest, but the point is God has ordained this time for you to be alive. And I really felt like this week in particular, I'm recording it during Thanksgiving week. You'll hear it the week after Thanksgiving. But I wanted to share with you some of the resources that we have that you can engage in. Why? Because we cannot do this alone. If you've listened to any of the other podcasts, you know I have tried to do it alone. I've had seasons where I was trying to work alone, do everything myself, down underneath the house in our basement at the time, trying to knock out content, start businesses, create webinars, do all of these things. And I would get to this place of just utter frustration. And I believe that I was trying to do it without community at the time. And so I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to try to do this thing without community. If you're listening to the Kingdom Mastermind podcast, it's probably because you have a friend who recommended it to you or you're part of one of our programs. And just this week, let's just take a breath for a minute. Let's just share some of the things that we have going on. So a little bit of background for those of you who are new to the podcast. My name's Ann McDonald. You probably already know that part. But for over 30 years, I have been in the entrepreneurial space. I've never really worked what one might call a completely corporate job, though I have worked for big companies before. I started off after college in the public relations industry. I started off working for two very large PR firms, and I lasted, I would say, less than a year. It was like, this is not for me. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I cannot do this. I cannot get up every day, go into an office, sit in a cubicle, and dial cold calls. So one of the things I want to share with you is there were a few really good lessons I learned from that. First, I learned what I was not good at. Second, I learned how to press through what I was not good at so that I could get a paycheck. So what do I mean by that? Well, when I first got out of college, this was many, many, many moons ago, my husband and we got married right out of college, and we moved to New York City. He had a great job. He had a Wall Street type job. We were super excited. We were, fresh off the farm, if you will. And I got a job in PR. And I thought, oh, this is going to be awesome. It's super cool, super fun. Public relations, New York City. Yeah. So what did my job actually consist of? Well, my job consisted of sitting in a cubicle and cold calling people all day long. I literally would go into the office, get a printout of the articles and the different things that had been sent to different press outlets, and I would have to call, ask them, did you get it? Do you have any questions? Is there anything else we can send you? And when can we expect you to run this piece? It was what we now call in sales a presumptive close. Well, I was low man on the totem pole, and I would be calling the same people day after day after day. And they're like, oh my goodness, by about the fifth phone call, they'd be like, Ann, yeah, we know it's you. We're not going to run it. It's not an important enough piece, but really appreciate your tenacity here. Well, what I came to discover when I decided I can't do this anymore, I knew it wasn't part of even at that time, I wasn't really walking with the Lord, but I knew it wasn't part of the call on my life. And I had a call into the more creative industries, and I transitioned into design related jobs and fashion related jobs actually at the time. But one of the things I came to find out was as I was leaving, as I had turned in my resignation, was that I was actually one of the top converters. Now, I had absolutely no idea what that meant. Basically, what happened was I came into the job. I didn't like the job. I wasn't particularly, wasn't this big thing. Oh, this is, awesome. I'm going to change the world by doing this. I just came in and I did the job. And apparently that was a standout thing. There were a lot of people who had the same job. There were a lot of cubicles in this one particular company that I worked for. And a lot of people just didn't do it. Or they weren't consistent from, 8 to 5 and making the phone calls and connecting with the press outlets. So when I went in for my exit interview, they were like, you're actually really good at this. And I'm like, you have to be kidding me. And they're like, no, the people that you call every day that are giving you a hard time because you're calling them every day, they're actually like, hey, from the other side, they're like, she actually calls us every day, and it was this funny space where I actually learned something really important in that season. And this is what I wanted to kind of unpack in this Thanksgiving week and the week after Thanksgiving as we're heading into the holidays. It's true, that old adage, 90% of life and 90% of success is just showing up. Do the thing in front of you. My husband has this phrase, I think it's actually a military phrase. It says, he says, proceed apace. Like it's a process, just proceed apace. Show up today, do what's in front of you, and do it again tomorrow. So as I'm unpacking this, I was praying with God about what is it that you want to talk about today? Because we're heading into the holiday season, full force now. And it can be pretty busy, especially for women, especially as we're trying to get the Christmas cards done. We're trying to get the family photos done. We're trying to get the decorations up. We're trying to get everybody's presents done. We're trying to get ready to write a bunch of thank you notes and plan some holiday celebrations. And it can be a really stressful time. And I guess what I want to encourage you with is twofold. One, you're doing a better job than you think you are. I had no idea I was great at that job. I just came in, I had the list of numbers I had to call, and I called them every single day. I didn't take a break from it. I just did the job. And what I want to say to you is God sees that you are showing up every day. And he says, well done, daughter. And if you've had a hard week or you've had a hard season and you feel like, Ann, I have not been showing up. I have been sleeping in. I haven't been taking care of my commitments. I haven't even been taking care of my health. I want to say to you, well done still. Why? Because until we can actually receive the grace of God in the situation that we're in, we won't actually have the energy to step out and take the next step. We don't get punished into the new. We get encouraged into the new. We don't get yelled at so that we'll behave better. We get loved on so that we'll behave better. Okay? So I don't know who that's for this week, but if that's for you, I want you to receive it. God says to you, you are my daughter. I love you and well done. All right, let's get a good night's sleep tonight, and then let's start tomorrow and do what we can with what we have. So why did I share that whole process? Before, I'm going to talk about some of the things that we have available. I share that because I want you to know sometimes we can get so locked up in what's right in front of us and what we're walking through that we actually forget that we need people to journey with us, and we need to journey with people in those trenches. If I had had even one other person who was in a cubicle, maybe across from me or close to me, that I could have said, hey, are you doing this and how's it going? I probably would have had an understanding that, hey, maybe I'm doing okay at this. And maybe we could have encouraged each other in the process. But as it was, I didn't have that person. And so one of the reasons I've created the programs that I've created for kingdom-minded women across the spectrum, we have free groups and we have very expensive mastermind groups, is because we actually need to have a place where we can gather, talk to each other, check in, and make sure we're doing okay. We're going to take a quick break to thank our sponsors. And then I'm going to come back and share with you a little bit about the programs and the things that we have available that you can take advantage of right now. Do you desire to become all that God designed you to be? Are you missing a community of women where you are safely heard, encouraged, and practically equipped? Kingdom Women's Mastermind is your solution. It's time to do life alongside other powerful, committed to excellence women of God. Whether you are building out a vocational ministry platform, a social marketing business, a traditional or online business, Kingdom Women's Mastermind provides off-the-charts acceleration in wisdom, monthly trainings, weekly SMART Goal check-ins, pop-up training, and mentorship. Kingdom Women's Mastermind is missing only one person, you. Visit us at www.kingdommastermind.net to fill out your application today. It's your time to prosper, woman of God. Again, visit us at www.kingdommastermind.net and apply today. Where two or more are gathered, there he is in the midst. That's the word of God. So let me share with you some of the things that we have available for you as a kingdom-minded woman. Someone who has an idea from God. Maybe you are just starting out on your entrepreneurial journey. Or maybe you're like, Ann, I've been at this for 20 years. I am ready to hit the next level. Maybe you're in that position. Well, let me share with you kind of the sequence of programs and things that we have available. The first thing we have available is called the KMM, or the Kingdom Mastermind Monthly Challenge Group. That is a free challenge group that's delivered in a private Facebook group where every month, at the head of the month, the first full week of the month, myself or someone on my team delivers what we call a free challenge. Now, what's a free challenge, you ask? Well, very simply, we actually pick a topic and then we unpack it over the course of 3 to 5 days. And we just deliver the content and unpack the issue free, typically in the afternoons around 3 o'clock Pacific. And what happens is during that first week, we just kind of taste test, if you will. Is this something that is relevant for your life right now? Do you need help in this area? Is this someplace where you're kind of stuck and you actually just need that encouragement, right? That person in the cubicle next to you saying, hey, I'm doing this too. How are you doing? Well, we can be stronger together. So let me give you an example. We recently held our first ever free challenge, KMM monthly challenge, and we did it on social media content calendar creation. Why? Because I was tripped up for the longest time on, I gotta make social media. Why do I have to do this? This is a lot of work. I'm really good for like 3 weeks and then I totally flake and then I forget about it and I can't remember my password to log in. And, it's just this mess. It's a big pile of laundry that never got put away. So we did our first challenge and it was awesome. It was 5 days. We spent about 30 to 45 minutes every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We were on live. I followed a really simple system. And let me share with you, people had breakthrough. People got their entire social media content calendar creation done for 2021 in just those 5 days. So there's power when we gather as kingdom-minded women. So that's kind of the low end or the free end of what we have available. Every single one of you under the sound of my voice right now who's listening to the podcast, if you are on Facebook, you can be a part of this. It's very easy. Literally, all you have to do is go to facebook.com/KMM challenge. That's it. It's a private Facebook group. We will make sure to put the link in the show notes. But if you're listening to me, just go onto Facebook right now. I should pick up my phone right now and look at it. And then all you have to do is request to join the group. Now, you'll be asked a couple of questions because we want to make sure that first, you're a woman. Okay. Now, the content, you can share the content with your family, but in order to be in the group, you have to be a woman. Okay. Second, everything we do is from a kingdom-minded perspective. Now, obviously, when we're doing social media content calendar creation, we're not all Jesus-y and scripture-y. We're just doing an excellent job, okay? And then what happens is you'll be admitted into the group. You have to answer the questions. I think we have 7 or 8 people who are trying to get into the group right now, but they haven't answered the questions. So we keep messaging them and saying, please answer the questions. So when you go to that link, please make sure and answer the questions so that we can let you in. Now, what happens after we deliver that content? So we basically give a free taste test of the content. There are homework assignments and things like that. It's called a challenge for a reason. It's like, okay, we're going to sprint for a couple of days on this topic. And if this is something that you want to go further in, then we have a paid program that you can join to either get lifetime access to the actual training videos, because we do take them down after that first week, and or you can join a live workshop. Now, what's a live workshop? The live workshop usually hovers between $150 and $400, maybe $500, depending on what the topic is. But we basically spend 5 hours, 5 sessions together, workshopping out that particular topic with you and for you. So no more excuses. So if you have been tripped up by the social media content calendar stuff, just as an example, you would have had an opportunity to take that challenge for free and then step into, if you wanted, to purchase access to the workshop. I think that workshop was $200 and we only had 10 spaces in that workshop. And then we work through it together for about 5 hours to make sure you get everything done. And then for anybody who's interested, we open up our Premier program. Now, our Premier program is expensive. It's a $3,000 a year program. Yes, $3,000 a year. It could potentially be even more expensive at some point. But it's our Kingdom Mastermind private Premier program. Presently, there are about 25 women in the group where we gather every Monday morning for SMART Goal Check-In. We hold each other accountable. And then we have trainings every Wednesday. We have pop-up trainings. It's really to help you move along in your entrepreneurial journey. Okay, so we have everything available from free to expensive to the mastermind type program. Why am I sharing this with you again today? Because I don't want you stuck in that cubicle like I was when I was working in PR in New York City, fresh out of college, banging my head against the wall, thinking I was doing a terrible job. And if I'd had anybody to say to me during that time, hey, you're actually doing a great job, right? You're doing okay, I might have stayed in that job. And I don't want you to give up on the calling that God has put into you, woman of God, okay? I don't want to cry. It's actually Thanksgiving Day. I don't want to cry on this, but I'm telling you, God has put you on the earth for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. You are here for such a time as this. So let's get you connected where you need to be connected so that you can finish everything that God has called you to finish. Does that give a little more context for why we're doing the Business Basics series? Because I want you to prosper. You are designed by God to prosper. And I don't want you to get to the end of your life and think, I missed it. No, we're not going to let the enemy win on this, okay? You have something that the world needs. And anything that I can do, whether it's the podcast or the free group or the paid groups, whatever it is that we can do to help minister strength into your mind, your will, your emotions, your soul, your body, your health, whatever it is, we're going to do. Because God has been gracious to do that unto me. And so I'm going to give that unto you. All right, Kingdom Women, let's have a great week after Thanksgiving. I hope that you are taking time to decorate your home. If you want to learn about one of my other businesses, go listen to the Holiday Decor podcast. That's one of my other businesses. But this week, I want you to know that God has his heart turned toward you. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy. We'll be back next week with more on business basics and more from the Kingdom Mastermind podcast. But make sure and check out some of these free resources that we have for you. I want to see you inside our Kingdom Mastermind Challenge group. This next month, starting December 7th, we're tackling email list development. Youch. Nobody get upset. Nobody freak out. It's easier than you think. We're going to tackle it together as kingdom-minded women. A belated happy Thanksgiving to you whenever you're listening to this podcast. And remember, you are worthy. Make sure to check out those show notes at www.kingdommastermind.net. And I want to invite you to subscribe, rate, review, and share the Kingdom Mastermind podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere awesome podcasts are found. Until next week, choose joy.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and share. If you'd like more material and have a desire to stay connected, please reach out to Ann at www.kingdommastermind.net.